very much, Tabzi. Now, today is World Bee Day, and we're once again joined by Arne Stander, a conservation ecologist and entomologist, to chat through the best ways in which you can personally, at home, help the plight of bees. Now, you'll remember, I think, a few years ago, we actually had a high influx of bees here at the Expresso studio. So we're going to look at the best plants that you need to have in your home to attract bees, and also how to manage the situation if you have too many bees to control. Arne, thanks for staying with us. We appreciate that. So, having plants at home that attract bees, how does that help in the greater scheme of things? Let's starting it off at home and then how it contributes to the greater scheme of things.
All right, so like I mentioned, bees like a variety of plants.
Yeah.
So the more variety of plants you can plant, the more they can forage. So, and it will also attract a lot of different bee species actually to a garden. A good example is if you have lavender in your garden.
Lavender, yeah?
Lavender. If you spend about 5 times looking at that lavender plant in flower, you'll count honeybees, but you'll also see at least 2 or 3 other bee species as well.
Wow, okay.
So already that also attracts a lot of different bee species. So if you have more different bee species, it will also attract other pollinators as well. You want other insects like butterflies, moths, flies, and also beetles in your garden. And in turn, that will be also food for other animals, like birds.
Yes.
If you've got more different varieties of plants in flower, more insects, we'll have more birds, things like lizards, other things like spiders, and it's all biological control you can also have in your garden. So instead of grabbing a spray bottle when you're in trouble, you can rely on nature to take its course.
Yeah, yeah. It's all part of the great circle of life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But I do know that some of us, me specifically, like let's say you're sitting at a restaurant and you're eating and then there's a bee that's just hovering around. I get this kind of tendency. A lot of people, when there's just too many bees around, it can become a bit of an uncomfortable situation. So how do you alleviate that in the best way, but so as not to cause harm to nature?
So swarming of bees are a natural process. So that's when the old queen leaves the nest and she takes about 40 to 60% of the worker bees with her.
Yes.
Now bees seek out any cavity, that's where they can start a new nest.
Okay.
Unfortunately for us, sometimes bees includes inconvenient places for us, like a chimney or inside a wall cavity. And with children and pets around, we are a bit, we want to get rid of the bees, but not to kill them. We want to get rid of them by relocating them.
Yes.
So if you're in that trouble, you can phone your local beekeeper. There's also a list of beekeeper removals on the Candide gardening app.
Yeah.
And you can ask one of those beekeepers to just relocate the swarm by either bringing in a bait box. I've done it recently, actually, at my aunt's house.
Okay, yeah?
Yes, the bees nested in a wall, and it was very experimental. So I took a bait box and I put it close to the wall, and I made a tube from aluminium gauze.
Yeah.
So it forced the bees to go from the wall into the catch box.
Okay, all right.
And I left it a couple of weeks, and then I investigated. I saw a lot of bees on all the frames, so I was very excited about that all. Yeah. And then I left it for another few weeks, and eventually last week I actually took that swarm to the farm. And the bees, there's a lot of bees inside. Unfortunately, they are queenless, but that's not a bad thing. So what we actually did is we took a frame out of a brood box from another hive containing a lot of larvae.
Yes.
And we put that frame inside the bait box. And now the worker bees of that catch box will start to feed royal jelly to those larvae.
Okay.
And they will rear a new queen.
Yes.
So typically, professional beekeepers will also do that by actually doing queen rearing, so that I can have more colonies.
Well, fantastic stuff. Arne, thank you very much for being with us this morning and explaining all of this wonderful news to us. And of course, if you'd like to find out more about the importance of this day of commemoration, as well as the importance of the bee population, where it is standing right now, make sure to visit the website www.worldbeeday.org. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be buzzing back to your screens afterwards.